What's up, gang? It is I, Carlton Flowers, your crypto pro.
Yay!
And this afternoon, I wanted to give you an update to tell you in general where I'm at, what I'm thinking, what I'm doing, just an overall. And we're going to do this over a good cup of coffee while I tool around in the market, and we'll be checking out some of the items that I'm looking at. And then I'll be able to reflect on why I am not nervous, why I'm hanging around, and why I continue to pile up items. As we can see here on the collectibles, I'm at 605. And what about comics? I'm going to have to check on the app here because I don't like that they don't put the comics up here. But looking on the app, let's see how many comics I have. 663. Wow. Okay, lots of comics. And I'm going to talk a little bit about comics too in this general update, but this is not the comic special update. So let's jump into the market and just look around, and I'll start to talk as I browse through the brands. Now, one thing is this. I'm not nervous about what is going on with the market. Prices are still going down, okay? We see floors dropping, and while I thought we were at the end of the distribution phase, we're not. Prices are still sliding. Some of these prices are really not that bad. Looking at Jake the dog, 43 gems, that's not bad. Finn Mertens was at 32 there. BMO at 24. We're not seeing a catastrophic drop where prices are going to zero, even though we know a lot of people are frustrated because MTL has not come out yet. Now, on MTL, one of two things will happen. They'll release MTL on time at the end of this month, as promised, second quarter, and you're going to see a lot of people who are disgruntled and waiting to get out. They're going to jump out, and we're going to see prices come down. Look at Ice King, 63, holding strong. I'm down to 2 Ice Kings, and I want to build up that stack again, but it's not near low enough to where I'd like to see it go. Now, the other thing that can happen is that MTL will not be resolved by the end of this month, and it might take, say, a few more months. Now, if you listen to Randy Chavez, he's not expecting it to happen until third or fourth quarter, and he could be right. He has a lot of insight into the overall, the big picture, and the things that the company is up against and why we have the delays on all the promises. And so he's not nervous. And I believe that people like Randy Chavez and some of these other big whales, they're just going to take advantage of the situation. Let's look at Lady Ranicorn, 300 gems. That's a steal of a deal right there. Wow. Now, the way that I'm viewing this at this point, because I thought we were going to have another major move like at the end of May. I thought that we were going to repeat what we saw last year, where we would have a parabolic peak at the end of May. I thought the distribution phase was going to settle down and end in December, and that we would enter into accumulation by January and February. We had a couple fake outs, but as we know, that did not happen, and we are still in the distribution phase. But as you can see with these prices that I'm showing you here, Marty's hoverboard at 61, we're not even coming close to how low that the market was last time we had, the time before last, when we had the big drop. Like after last year, I think it was last spring when the market peaked out in May. When we came down into the summer, these prices were so low. And I remember Marty's hoverboard being at 30, and I was waiting for it to go lower so I could stack up. But then things ramped up and it never came down. I was buying no tech at 12 and 13 gems. So this 20 gem price does not scare me. Now, in cryptocurrency, when you're talking altcoins and not Bitcoin, whenever you have market cycles, we usually go all the way back down to the prices of the previous bear market. Now with Bitcoin, you see the floor rising bit by bit. And even though we've had some catastrophic drops, the bargain basement low price level for Bitcoin usually goes up. But we see on altcoins that we have a parabolic peak with 100x gains, 1000x gains, and then we settle all the way back down to where we started. Right now, we're seeing altcoins returning to prices that we haven't seen since 2016. I mean, it's just incredible. While Bitcoin is still hanging around at 29,000. Now, Bitcoin could go down to 20,000, I think, which would be the market cycle peak from 2017. It could even go lower than that. And even if it does, we still have an overall rising base. So when you understand the market cycles of cryptocurrency and the price action of Bitcoin, and you compare that to this market right here on the VeVe app, as I'm looking at Bruce Timm Harley Quinn at 190, I'd like to see that come down to 100, and then I'll grab that one again. Then you know that these prices that we are seeing, this is not a catastrophic failure. This is normal. In fact, we're doing better than normal. To look at the Todd McFarlane Batman right here sitting at $24.99. Now, when I bought my first one, it was 131 gems, and I traded for another one because I waited until they sold out on the market and I had to panic. So then I got two, one through a trade and one on the market for 131 gems. I sold one at 1,000 gems, and I regretted doing that. But look at the price right now, $24.99. That's still 2.5x over the peak that we had last year at this time. So this is not something that we should really be concerned or worried about, because this is a fantastic price for something that was only $89 retail on the market. And you must remember that back in the days, people said there was too many editions of this item for it ever to go up in price significantly over time. Now we know that that is a mistake to think that way. Let's look at Joe Mad. This thing dumped down all the way to 290 gems, and I was looking to pick up another one, and it just popped up to 399. Again, that's very healthy, and that's huge to see this thing sitting at $3.99. People will only let these items go down so far before they get snatched up. Number 71 Batman at 45. I'm hovering over that one and waiting to strike on it once we go down to about 30. Becky Cloonan, let's see, 529. That's a rock solid price. Now, I was upset because it was at 1,800. I had 4 of them. I sold 2 of them at like 900 gems and then hung on the other 2 and watched them peak out in November at 1,800 gems. So now it's down to 529. That's good news because it means that I have a possible, I could possibly pick up another couple and ride it for the next run. And so what we're seeing here is there is a value placed on this item because $529 is what? Is that what, 5 to 10x of what the retail price was? I don't even remember. Let's look and see what the retail price was on the Becky, which is one of my favorites. It was $49.99, guys. All right. So we're at a 10x price of the retail of this item. That's amazing. And if we think in longer terms, instead of, say, flipping on a quarterly basis or buy something and sell it a month later, you're going to win. And so right now, my plan is not to look for flipping short term. I made a lot of money on this last spring when I sold several items on eBay, cashed out for $12,000, okay? And that went straight to my PayPal debit card. I was running to the ATM and pulling out cash and buying stuff. I bought a used car with that money. I paid off bills with that money. I took the majority of it and I rolled it right back into the app, and that's where I really started to grow. Because after I sold off a bunch of items, I was down to 275 collectibles. And then I started to build from that point to where I am right now, where I have 605 collectibles. But it was after that time that I started to pile up on the comics. And the comics are another thing. They're looking fantastic, even at the low prices that they are right now, because this presents an opportunity. Let's look at Batman Who Laughs, $51.51. And this is another one that's a lesson learned, because what were people saying when this thing was sitting around, say, 15, 20 gems, when I started to accumulate? There's too many of them. It will never go up in price because the item counts are too high. So we have seen time and time again when items come out that when the number increases on the total count, people tend to write them off as garbage. Now, let's jump back here and go down to Spider-Man. Where is Spider-Man? Because this is one of the best stories that you'll ever hear on Spider-Man. And that came out, last August, I guess. And this is one that I have like huge regrets for not going for the secret rare because I thought it was too expensive. Now, when Spider-Man came out, the common right here, which is sitting at $209.99. That's incredible. I was buying these. I think I bought one on the market. Let's look what the retail price was. I got 4 on the market. List price, 40 gems. So I paid 40 gems for each one. It dipped down to 30. And everyone was saying there are too many. VeVe has ruined the market because they can't ever go up in value when we have this many editions. How many editions of this? 32,000. Okay, so that was absurd back in the day. That was double the amount of the Todd. What is there, 8,000 or 9,000 Todds? So that's 4 times the amount of the Todd. And people wrote it off as garbage. So I sat on mine and I said, you know what? I've learned my lesson. I'm going to hold on to these and pray they come back to retail, and then I'm going to get rid of them. But then the market heated up and they started to move up. And I sold them all from, I think, between 200 and 500 gems. The last one I sold for around 500 gems because I thought, okay, that's the peak. It's not going anywhere. And what did it do? We saw it jump up to 2,000 gems. After I sold my commons and I sold my uncommon for about 400 or 500 gems, I sold my rare for 800 or 900 gems. We watched them all skyrocket once we hit into November. I had regrets. However, I did buy a bunch of items with those gems. I piled up and started stacking. So at least I didn't lose, by leaving all those gems on the table. I pumped those into other items, which have also increased in value. Now, whenever the first comic came out, which was Marvel's #1. Oh man, I'm going to tell you what, this is yet another example of people that don't have the foresight to understand where this is going. By the way, none of this is financial advice. Please understand that. This is risky business and nothing is guaranteed, okay? Let's jump into comics while I tell this story. So I bought the Marvel's #1 on the drop for $6.99. And then I was so angry when it dropped down to 1 gem. Yes, people were selling Marvel Comics #1 for 1 gem. Oh man, I thought, well, I should just sell it as soon as it comes back to $6.99. And I thought, well, no, I'll just hang on to it. I think what had happened was I got the common on the drop and I brought the uncommon on the market and I held on to them. And then I ended up selling the uncommon for 550 gems. How about that? Now we can see right now that it hasn't come back. It's at $157.99 and the common is sitting at what? 135, and both of these were in the 400 to 500 gem range. And so can you even fit it in your head that this was selling for 1 gem? Wow. Now, where do I apply that? Here's where I apply it. There are other items that are sitting on the market selling for under 3 gems. There are several of these that I have that are of great value. Like I've got a couple of these Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, right here that is sitting at 55 gems. I might buy a few more of those before we jump up into the next phase when we get into the accumulation and consolidation phase, because this is going to go places here. But one thing that I have noticed is that no matter what, all of these comics are probably going to come up. I was piling up this one, the Peter Parker. I've got about, 15 or 20 of those, and they came down considerably. I had bought a lot of these at around 15 to 30 gems each, not realizing how far they were going to come down. This one, Marvel's #1. Look at the price of this. This is down to 3 gems. And let's see how many of these that I have right now. Now, Marvel's #1, people don't take seriously because it's not a classic one that is from the 50s or 60s. This is an edition that was printed, in the mid-80s, somewhere around there. And we see that I have 25 editions. I have everything except the secret rare on this item. And that one is kind of out of touch right now for me, out of reach, rather. But the rest of them I do have. Now let's look at the price on the secret rare. It's at $625. That's incredible. And I had considered getting one at $400 a few weeks ago, and it just keeps going up in price. So we see 16 on the market, and if it ever comes down, maybe I'll snag one. But the point is, one of these days, people are going to look at this one, Marvel's #1, in the same way that they look at Marvel Comics #1. It's the second comic to be released on the app, and I love the artwork. And the reason why I'm piling up other comics that people don't consider as, grails or great is because of the artwork. The Fallen Sun collection. I have piled up several of this item on the market. And right now, let's look at the comment. I am sitting on, that was my son and his buddy coming in here. They're out mowing lawns and making money this summer before they go off to college. Let's see. I have 26 of this one, of the common, and I own the full set all the way up through the secret rare. And the reason why I have these is because the floor can't go down much lower, even if it goes to a gem. And if it goes to 1 gem, I'm going to double the stack, and I'll add as many as I can, even though I don't think I'll have the opportunity to get, say, 20 or 30 more at 1 gem. It's probably not going to happen. But the artwork in these editions, I love. I love the cover art. I love the stories. And if I place a value on it, I know there's going to be people in the future that will place a value on it as well. Now, I own grails. I own items that have great value, but I also own lots of the items that other people don't consider to be great. Here's another one, Fallen Sun. All of these sets, I've got a pile of them, $2.40 right now. So I'm sitting on 24 editions, and I'll be taking that number even higher because there's not much slippage. There's not much room left to go down. So I'm not risking losing anything if I just sit on these. Now imagine what happens in a couple years, whenever the next market cycle pump happens. You're probably going to see these comics that are selling at 2 and 3 gems. They're going to raise up to a floor of 20 to 30 gems. I'll be able to enjoy a 10x on some of these and use them as leverage. I'll always keep one of each of these because I am a collector. And I'll probably tell you there are several of the collectibles that I'll never sell because I enjoy them. I like playing around with them, shooting silly videos, posting on Instagram, and I have an enjoyment of it. That's another reason why I'm still here, because I enjoy the app and it brings me great joy. I have fun with the items. I like looking at them. I like reading the comics, and this has brought me back to a point from 20, 30 years ago when I used to read comic books and lost interest. Well, now I have an interest in it again because this is an easier way to buy comics and to read them in AR. So I am still bullish, but that doesn't mean that I think everything's going to go to the moon. I'm bullish because I'm patient, and I know that it is human nature that as soon as the FOMO bug hits, everything is going to get shot straight to the moon. And I'm waiting for that to happen So my collection overall is now over 1,200. I think it's at 1,270 items, including comics and collectibles. And I'm having fun with my mini whale status, piling these things up and enjoying watching that number go higher and higher. So I might, who knows, I might take it up to 1,500. I don't know. But at this point, I think I'm at the 0.5% level. I know I'm in the top 1% for the amount of collectibles that I have. And I'm in good company because I'm nowhere near some of the whales that have grails in stacks. You know, I've got several grails, but maybe one of each. But there are whales that are on this app that are sitting on stacks of grails. And I know that they're not going to go anywhere soon. So I'm going to continue to stack on and enjoy this and utilize this time as an opportunity to invest into my future and enjoy it all along the way. So that's just about it in a nutshell. I just wanted to let you know where I'm at. I'm rock solid. I'm enjoying myself, and I'm going to let all this stuff play out. And then we're going to have fun when the opportunity comes where you can start cashing out, making money, going to pay off bills, doing some fun things, taking some vacations. There's several things that I want to do that I will leverage from selling these items. And then I'll still enjoy keeping a pile of these things just for my own use. So that's about all I've got for now. This is Carlton. And I am not out yet because I would love it if you would like, comment, and subscribe to the Crypto Pro channel. And I appreciate all of you. Thank you for all the comments. I'm going to catch up on all the comments from the last video. And I've got more specific information on Strategy 2.0 coming your way. The comic book report is coming. So stick with me. I'll be back very soon. And I am out.